Anthony, you take a very unusual approach to this work in preventing suicide. Magic. What led you to this approach?
I've always loved magic, and after come to know it's one of the oldest art forms that we've been using, and to mix it with storytelling is just so powerful and much more interesting than a PowerPoint for high school and middle school students.
But what led you to also this interest in mental wellness, mental health issues?
I'm a 3-time suicide attempt survivor. I struggled a lot with self-harm in high school, middle school, and using negative coping tools to manage my stress, my depression, and my anxiety. So I decided very early on that I always wanted to use magic. And originally it was to build a platform as an entertainer and then talk about mental health, like I've seen a lot of entertainers do, but then I decided to just mix them into each other and do school assemblies. And well, it didn't always start like that though.
No, but it grew into that, and it's called The Magic of Hope. Why do you call it that? The
Magic of Hope, because there is just so much potential in hope. And there's so much importance when I was suicidal, I had zero hope for myself, for my future, for my environment. And it was truly that wow factor I think that a lot of people get when they experience a magic trick, where they just, wow, that's unexplainable. When I felt hope again, that's the closest I could explain of how it was. It was just this magical experience.
Did magic save your life?
I won't say that magic saved my life. I think that therapy, inpatient therapy, outpatient therapy, learning coping skills is what saved my life. Magic, a lot of people talk about art therapy. Magic was my art therapy and my way of kind of explaining things.
So you come into a classroom, you do a magic show, but you're presenting this very, very important life-saving message. What kind of reaction do you get from kids?
Wow, during the panel I'll have a bunch of these. I've received well over 300 or 400 messages from students in the last couple of years. It's all positive. A lot of times I'll actually get everything from just, thanks for coming to our school, I really enjoyed the message. I'll get a lot of kids asking me further, how do I stop self-harming? How do I approach my parents or somebody about my addiction or me using drugs to cope with my stress? And then on the more extreme side of things, there has been times where I've given a presentation and I've received a message from a high school or middle school student saying, I'm suicidal, I need help. And that's when things get a lot more, a lot more into, I have to contact the school counselor and go from there.
It gets very real very quickly.
It gets very real very quickly, and that's something that I take very seriously, but I go over this with the school before. I'm saying, hey, this will happen as long as the counselor is available for me to just screenshot and send it to them, because that way they can immediately get the student down there.
How much traveling do you do? All around?
I travel all around. A lot of my schools are in Michigan, but in the last couple years I have done an entire county. For example, Clarion County, Pennsylvania, I've been to every school there. I've been to almost every county in Michigan, all the way to DC, Chicago. In a couple weeks, in the same week, in the middle of February, I'll go from Milwaukee to Sault Ste. Marie in Miami in a 7-day period, and I'll be home for maybe 4 or 5 hours in between there. So.
Certainly the need is there. Well, you're a man on a mission, Anthony, and we want to thank you for sharing that with us today.
Thank you.